Hello CM492, my name is David Hartman, and the software that I chose to show the compatibility between Revit and another BIM software is Graitec Advanced Concrete. Graitec is the parent company, and they pretty much specialize in creating software to do with civil and structural engineering. They also have advanced design, advanced steel, advanced CAD, and advanced manage. The reason why I chose advanced concrete is because, like many of you, I'll be going into structural concrete type field, and I like to integrate software like this or this software into my company's operations. The software has a lot of unique tools and features. The ones that I like the best were it has tools for structural detailing, reinforcement detailing, a comprehensive reinforcement shape library, 3D reinforcement detailing, a clash detection, and you can also create a bill of materials. And you can also, or the very interesting thing is, when I downloaded this free trial, Graitec gave me basically their entire library. So I have design, concrete, steel, CAD, and manage, and you're able to export and import your model in between each of these different softwares to best utilize their features. To start, I went by inserting the drawing of our floor into this software. Pretty simple. You can also, here you can see a Revit export and import. Now, I started with the floor plan and recreated the hotel by creating by beams and columns and slabs. You can see here column. You can create what size you want it, what shape you want it. Same thing with our beam, or size and shape. And whenever you create a new beam, a new column, it gives it a new name. So you can see B9, C42. You can also select what material you want, the style of reinforcement, and how you want your reinforcement to look. I guess what I would call a con is I was not able to find how or what strength of concrete, if you could change the strength of concrete in this software, like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 psi. The only thing I could find is just concrete. What I believe this software really is focusing on is the reinforcement. What size rebar is, what shape, and how it's configured. So what I really like and found interesting was their detailed shape library. As you can see, they have many different shapes, all of which are used in industry. Very complicated, some very complicated shapes, dimensions, and how they're labeled. This is a pretty standard beam stirrup, and so on. One thing that I like to point out is that in shop drawings, you're given a schedule very similar to this, and it's a very standard schedule. And in your drawing, if your member only has one hook instead of two hooks like this, they're going to give you the schedule that with it having two hooks. But in the drawing, they're going to point out that it only has dimension A, J, and B, and they'll omit dimension G. So it's very important to see that and understand that to avoid confusion. They also have bar supports. As we learned in the AIC, bar supports are not designed by the engineer. they're put in or designed by either the contractor or the fabricator. So it's nice to see what our symbol code is and what the bar support looks like. One thing about double blocks is that they're usually used in concrete footings, and it's very important to know that your double block that you use cannot be less than the strength of the concrete that you're pouring. So usually footings have are 3,500 psi. Your double block cannot be less than 3,500 psi. Also, their standard steel, pretty straightforward. You get also what grade of steel it is. Usually grade 60 is the most common. It shows you the size, weight, different hooks. Now on to what I think is the most interesting part of this software is the generation of rebar drawings. Now I can select, once your model is made, you can select different members and create a rebar drawing. As you can see here, we can see how many views you want. In this little setup wizard, it has nothing to do with the rebar itself. It basically has to do with what your drawing looks like and what you want your drawing to look like. So it has text height and text size, color, and many of those little nuances. So for the purpose of time, I'm not going to change any of these or go through any detail. Once you click finish, it usually takes, depending on how many members you have, it'll take a minute to maybe 5 minutes to generate a rebar drawing. So I have a couple made here. This is of the slab, or the first floor slab and column. So you can see it generates a drawing, has labels of what rebar is, the spacing, the size, the configuration. The drawing itself, and it has the section. One really nice thing is you highlight this and it has a 3D viewer. So you can see, zoom in exactly what it's going to look like and what you want it to look like. Rotate it like so. So you can see my double mat of rebar with the column and how the column is tied in with the rebar cage, and then how it is tied in with the column above it. You can see our stirrups and how we tie into the footing. As you can see, stirrups are stacked a little more on the ends like this, and if any of you took 390 with shaker, you would know that that's where the momentum is the most, at the ends. So that's where they want to have more stirrups. So I really like the 3D viewer. Also, there is a clash detection. can see if I do a clash check. This one doesn't take very long. So what it'll do now is mark how many clashes are in the bar up here. So we got 1 of 8. We can zoom in on it and it'll show the clash. Go to the next one and it'll show the clash, and so on and so forth. So we want to close that out. Another really interesting feature is we can do a bill of materials. So what I did for this one is I created a bill of materials for level 2. All I do is highlight, extended modeling, and create a bill of materials. We can change the price in currencies, as you can see here. Concrete in Minnesota is quite a bit more than this right now, so we can change our price and quantities. And what it does is press OK, and it publishes the bill of material to Word. I'm going to have to pause here quick. So as you can see here, it created a bill of materials for level 2, and it gives the elevation, how much concrete, how many square feet formwork, columns, and our slab, and our total price. I'll pause here and go back. So to finish up, I'll show you how this model is able to be exported to their advanced design software, and their advanced design is basically for structural engineers themselves to calculate dead loads, live loads, and static, all sorts of different loads. So we can export this out to advanced design, where another structural engineer or anybody can do their types of calculations. Some of the main cons that I found with this software is I wish it had, like I said before, the ability to have different, or be able to use different strengths of concrete. I wasn't able to find any formwork design, which would really help for clash detection in the construction process. I didn't see any scheduling abilities within this software, although once you export it to their manager, we'll be able to schedule there. And for the bill of materials, that's nice, but I like to see some sort of a production unit, or be able to put production units on each material for labor costs. So that is it. Thank you very much, and I hope you learned something.